So today I'm going to be sewing a jumper. I do not have the doll I was working on the last time, mainly because it's at the state fair. Don't know how it's done yet. State fair starts tomorrow, so they've had the judging this week. I will post pictures of that later. Um, what I'm going to be doing today is this is the Joyful Jumper pattern from Mama Can Do It Patterns. They actually have some really awesome patterns. I have a sleeveless top I like. That's a knit top pattern. This is a woven pattern. And what's great about this is that it is a reversible jumper. So basically, you get two dresses out of one for the work that it would take to do one. You get two dresses. So I am making my younger daughter a Halloween dress. It's fabric. She calls it Bat Mouse, and I'll show you why in just a minute. Bat Mouse and Black Cat, and then a turkey fabric so she can wear it into November as well. Won't stop her otherwise. But so just to show you. Hi, Annette. This is the turkey fabric. It's a very cute print that I've had for a few years, but I love how he has a little pink pilgrim hat on top. Now this is from a new collection that came out this year. But as I said, if you can see Bat Mouse, at least that's what my daughter calls him. So that's what he is. So I've already cut out. Oh, I love this print. I think it's hilarious. And I'm actually going to make her a matching little crossbody bag on my embroidery machine with black fur, a black cat bag with this on the inside. So I hope you're doing well, Melody. But this has two different pattern pieces. So this is the front. If you notice, this has a little bit of a short. Now you can turn any simple jumper into a reversible jumper. And if you can see, this is the back. And the way this does is that these, you can do buttons, you can do snaps, you can do anything of that nature. I do with these dresses, just because it's easier for her, I do snaps. And for this one, for the cat one, I have these little cute black cat snaps that are going to be, and since it's actually just one set of snaps, I don't use I use a male and female pieces, but I don't use one engraved snap and one plain snap. I use an engraved snap on each side. So for the black cats, I've got a little black cat snap, and those will be at the end. And then for the hi Lisa turkey side, I got pumpkins. And so that'll be at the end, and I'll explain how I do all that and everything. We won't talk about my snap collection. It's about as big as my zipper pull, if not actually bigger. I probably have about 100 different engraved snaps. And that's different designs, so we won't talk about that. All right, so the biggest thing with this is that, like I said, this is a reversible. Hi, Anna. Jumper. So what we do is we actually sew the top part of, not the top, so the top and bottom part of the front pieces together and the top and bottom parts of the bottoms together. And then we'll attach them so we will have a reverse. This is a very simple pattern, but it's very well written. But so for this first part, we're just going to match up our two dresses, just right sides together. This is our two dress fronts. We are not doing, so we want the two different fabrics. So you always cut, with this particular pattern, you always cut two of the same one. Two of each pattern piece out of, you can make it out of the same fabric, and it could just be a double-sided jumper. That means that they're both the same thing. But a lot of times I make double-sided jumpers for my daughter which she loves because that means she can just flip it wrong side out and wear it the next day and nobody's the wiser. So, now I don't always do holiday themed ones. The last one I did actually was one I made her for her first day of school, which is has a school print on both sides, but one of them has a black background and one of them has a pink background, so they look completely different. But and then I've just got some funky engraved snaps, nothing school related there, but yeah, I do have all kinds of snaps. I've got Christmas and Halloween, and I got Harry Potter, I've got Stitch, I've got Dungeons and Dragons. So all kinds of stuff as far as that goes. I have a lot of different snaps and stuff, and I like being able to accent things like that. So I also use those in my key fobs I make. So like I made a turtle one recently, and I had a turtle engraved snaps, and I put those on the turtle fob. But right now I'm just pinning. Well, a couple of the businesses I got them from are no longer in existence. And one of them I'm really sad about, and that was where I got my favorite ones from, and that was Kimmy Snaprick. The person who owned that actually sold out to her mom, and her mom did it for about a year before she stopped doing it anymore. But she wanted more time with her family, so she stopped. But some of my engraved snaps I get, or a majority of them that I get now, are from camsnaps.com. And see, now I've pinned the top, so now I'm pinning the bottom. Just keeping pinning. I've gotten some from, what is it? My brain's not wanting to think what they're. She does zipper pulls and stuff like that. My brain's just not wanting to think where it's from, but I've gotten a lot of like Lord of the Rings stuff and things like that. And I've got some of the fashion snaps, like the metal snaps, from her. I can tell you who runs it. It's somebody named Winnie Vu who runs that group. I can't remember the name of her hardware group though. But she had Stitch ones and Star Wars snaps. But there are several out there. Like I said, Cam Snaps, if you go and you look for engraved snaps, they have some. They just don't have as many. They used to carry a lot more. Yeah, if you look in the just in the snaps section at Cam Snaps, you looked under engraved snaps. And from time to time in her Facebook group, she'll give a link for and let you know she's got some limited edition ones as well. But yeah, Amy from Kimmy Snaprick was my favorite. She had all kinds of, like, she had bees and which I use a lot, and I bought out a lot of those, as well as Toothless and Light Fury and the Grinch. So the front is pinned, so I'm going to set that to the side, and we're going to go ahead and pin the backs together. Are there any questions y'all want to ask? Now, here is a little tidbit about what's coming soon. My plan is to hopefully in the next 2 weeks have you the updated add-on for my Gamers Night Out. Y'all are the first to know that I hope to release it. By 1st of November. So if people have gotten the Nintendo Switch 2 and want to make cases for their children or themselves, they will be able to do that for the Gamers Night Out. So my plan is to have that for the first week of November right now. This is the Joyful Jumper. I'll put up my cover sheet again. I've made this pattern so I didn't print out, but it's the Joyful Jumper by Mama Can Do It. If you just go to mamacandoit.com, they have a lot of really cool patterns. I've made the little shorts, and they have stuff for adults as well as kids. Like I said, I have a little sleeveless top that I like, and I've made myself a dress as well. So they have both knit and woven patterns. I used to be a tester for them. It's not owned by the same person who owned it at the time. She actually sold her designs. There's still people who have done it, who do that pattern group, but the person who started Mama Can Do It is no longer involved. But when she was part of it, I used to test for them. So, like I said, they're very well written patterns. I enjoy them a lot, and I own most of them. So, but so like I said, Gamers Night Out should be out in the next couple weeks. I'm hoping to maybe get that narrowed down and get that out to y'all soon. If nothing else, I will have a material list that I'll release here first next week for the Gamers Night Out. Like I said, if you have somebody who has received the Switch 2, or if you've bought the Switch 2, this would be the time to make you a new case, because there's still not tons of stuff out there yet. Accessories and things like that in the main market that are not completely Nintendo branded or very bland, in my way of phrase. But I am will be working on that, because I do have a Nintendo Switch 2, so I need something to carry it with. So almost done pinning the top. Now, you probably actually see me use more pins with this than I do with a lot of my bags. And that is the case because fine wovens move a lot easier. So I just take that into account. Now this is sewn with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Excuse me. And this goes from sizes in there's a baby size as well as a girl's size, and the girl's size goes from 2 to 16, so it goes all the way up to teenager, really. So now I'm pinning the bottom. Now the difference on the back side is that when we sew this together, we're going to leave about a 4-inch hole on the bottom for turning after we sew our sides together. So right now I am just pinning, and I will, when I get about to that center point, I'm going to go ahead and whenever I want to notate I need to stop, a lot of times I'll use a different color pin top from what I use everywhere else. And I do that mainly so that I'm like, oh, there's something different. And I'll actually stop, because a lot of times I'll forget to stop and I'll keep going, and I went, oh, now I get to pull out the seam ripper. So it's just a way to prevent me from having to do that. And so this is not a hard pattern. This is a fun little easy pattern. It's great for children, grandchildren. I kind of wish they had an adult version, because my teenager keeps asking me for jumpers and stuff like that, but I may have to figure that out. But other than that, so right now all I've done is pinning. I apologize, but I wanted to show y'all what it looked like. right, so as you can see, I've got my nice little, I've got that much more to pin. And then I will, excuse me. My allergies have been acting me like crazy. But, and if you hear stuff in the background, my daughter is doing dishes. So I apologize for that. But, all right, so now we have, here's our back completely pinned. Now, if you see, I've got fusible stabilizer, and you can use medium weight, like featherweight stabilizer, but actually because I'm putting snaps in it and I don't want it to mess it up, I want something really sturdy. So I actually put SF101 on this. You can just use medium weight stabilizer, but you want to do it where it's going to hold up because it's not going to be the biggest. And what's actually really kind of cool, there's a, if you go on their website, they actually have a matching doll pattern. So it's not usually for dolls. For, in my case, my 8-year-old likes to dress up her monkey that matches. So I usually make her a matching monkey jumper. So just heads up, if you have one that likes to have matching with dolls and stuff, or with older siblings or younger siblings, it's a great pattern for that because there's so many sizes for that. All right, so I'm going to switch all over to the machine, and we're going to sew both sets, the fronts and the backs together, and then we'll go press them. Yeah, her monkey goes about everywhere. All right, so we're going to go ahead and sew the bottom. And just so I don't forget, I usually start in the center. Like I said, this is sewn at a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Have to make sure my presser foot is down in the bottom. My dog, when I leave the house, will actually go and stay underneath my sewing machine and like hide under there. No, but my 8-year-old loves to have matching outfits. Now, sometimes they do actually make it onto her American Girl dolls as well. So I leave them that size, but since I make them monkey size, they're usually more of a tunic on the dolls. Okay. Now, sometimes I do use unique threads for top stitching and everything, but because I'm using two different signs and they're very different in colors, I'm using black because the background of the turkeys is black, and with the black cats, it works. So that's something you have to take into account. Like when I did one that was for Valentine's, I actually did a variegated pink. So okay. All right. And so this is not a hard pattern. I think I spend almost as much time cutting it out and interfacing it as I do sewing it. Okay. Now we're going to sew the top of the back. Ooh. And I'm knocking stuff off. Now, y'all didn't see me last week, partially because I was getting everything together, but I will show you one thing I did for a doll dress is I actually hand dyed trim. So that was definitely a new experience, but I got it about the right color. So I'm happy with how it turned out. But Like I said, I'm just going little by little, and turning around this. Now, after we do this, you need to clip your curves. What I do is I use pinking shears. One, it's a lot easier, and you need to trim it anyways a little bit. So that clips those curves for you ahead of time. And basically, you're doing it all in one step instead of doing multiple steps. So I just go all the way around. Well, my older one had a puppy that goes everywhere, so and she still carries it around, like when we go camping with Girl Scouts and stuff like that. It still goes in the bag. So I can say I kept a track of mine for a long time. So almost done sewing around the top. Now I have some both gingham. What do they do? Now, what y'all would find funny right now is I actually have my other sewing machine out, my a little more basic Singer, because I've been working on a knit stripe and because I need stretch stitching. What kind of stuff do they sew? This machine right here is a power horse and will power through about everything. However, it does not do zigzags or triple stitches or stretch stitches. It just does simple straight stitch. So I have to pull it out from time to time. I'm doing a zip up hoodie for both me and my teenager, and it requires serging and top stitching, which I use a triple stitch for. Oh, that's fun. I sew a little bit of everything. Mostly I sew bags. I just finished up a 1850s doll garment. So the back is now sewn. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I can show you the difference. I have two different pairs of, where's my other? Pinking shears. I like my Fiskars. I like my Gingers. And when I'm doing vinyl, I usually use my Fiskars because they're a little more heavy duty. Oh, Disney's fun. Now, next year, I'm going to go to, we're going to take our girls to Universal to mark my older daughter's last year of high school and my younger daughter's 5-year remission of being cancer free. So we're going to go to Epic Universe. So I will probably be making all the bags and clothes and stuff like that in the lead up to that. I probably plan on making myself a How to Train Your Dragon bag personally. But I have some Mario clothes to make myself. Disney's fun. It's gotten a little pricey in the recent years. I'm actually going to use the other one. This one is really tight. But I've only been to Universal like twice. But I've been to Universal 3 times. But been to Disney a bunch. Well, not a bunch, but about twice that much. And I'm actually really excited to go see the new Epic Universe park. I went a couple times with my parents, and actually went once at 15 with my Girl Scout troop. We saved all our cookie money to do that. So that's, and then we've taken both my girls right before they turned 3. So we went back in 2011, and then in 2019 we went to Disney with both our girls. So I need to oil my Ginger ones a little better. They're just they're not as loose, and so it's a little harder on my hands to cut with them sometimes. So I actually like my Fiskars. They're pretty good pinking shears. Right, there's one trimmed. Now we're going to go ahead and sew our front together. But like I said, this year is going to be a big trip because my teenager will be going into her super senior year because she goes to early college. So she goes through, this is her 12th grade year, but she'll have a 13th year in high school, but she'll come out with an associate's degree. So it's worth it, as well as her high school diploma. So maybe for next year. It's a little too late to be doing something that detailed. I have looked at possibly doing some more like themed bags. I do have I am working on releasing the newest size of my Gamers Night Out to accommodate the Switch 2 over the original Switch, coming out hopefully in the next 3 weeks. But I do like to make theme stuff. Actually, I made my teenager a dragon themed bag, How to Train Your Dragon, for her to take when we go to Universal. And it actually is a pin bag that has a clear vinyl window that's shaped, that I cut to look like a dragon wing. So it's clear, but it's dragon wing shaped. So may do something of the like for my own as well. I haven't figured that much out yet. Well, right now she's number 1 in her class, so she's doing really well. But, okay. And I'm going to show the bottom of this one. Oh, yeah, we love the entire series. All 4 TV series, 3 movies. It's all awesome. And then the new live action was a very good remake of the original animated. So, yes, we are big How to Train Your Dragon fans here. Now, the difference with the front versus the back is that you just sew all the way across. We don't leave an opening here. Yes, the second How to Train Your Dragon movie is getting a remake, and it should come out in 2027, I think they said. The next live action one. The new live action that came out this past summer was very well done. Very good. but it helps when you have the main, one of the main voice actors is actually in the live action as Stoic. I kind of agree, but it's also one of the saddest. So I'm looking forward to it either way. But it was very true to form of the original movies. Okay. Go ahead and turn y'all back this way for a minute. Oop. Of course, now we're going to go ahead and take my pink and shears and do the same thing on here. Well, I like doing funky bags. If you ever go onto my TikTok or my Facebook page, you'll see I make Pokemon themed bags. And when I say themed, they look like they're Pokemon. I've made my daughter a Jigglypuff, made her a Pokeball that was a pin bag. So the opening that is where you usually would push the button for the Pokemon to come out is actually a clear window so she can display her pins. I've also done Togepi for my sister-in-law. And I've done a couple other anime themed ones that are shaped bags for customers and stuff. I like having creativity to do it. And sometime in the future, I will be making myself a Psyduck. He's my favorite Pokemon. Him or Squirtle. But, oh, I'm a big nerd. Big anime fan, so. Okay. So we have trimmed that. So the big thing here is that I'm going to take this over to my ironing board. And like you can kind of see it. I'll kind of point it. You can see where my iron is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to turn this right side out. I'm a water type Pokemon person. I'm going to turn my front completely right side out, and I'm going to press it. And what I will go ahead and do, Snoopy's my favorite over everything, so we won't even go there. But so if you can see, and so you can't see the turkeys, but now you can't see the kitties. So we turn the front completely right side out. And I'm going to take it and press it. Now, one thing I am going to do, I'm not going to press the top of this because when we turn it, I will actually turn these and press it. But I am going to go ahead and press the bottom of this open, mainly so I have, when I go to close up my opening, I will have those nice, pretty seams in place. I like Charmander okay. I'm just more of a water type than I am a fire type person. Okay. So y'all can kind of see me over here, just pressing. So I will actually go ahead and do my this is the bottom hem of the back. And what I actually will do is take it and press the seam to one side. And I do that so that it will lay flat. Doesn't really matter which side. because, like I said, it's reversible, but I just want the seam to be able to lay flat. And if I go ahead and press it now, instead of waiting until after I get it connected to the other one, then it will lay flatter for top stitching. Okay. So I'm going to do the other side of that. We are just pressing that down. And what I will do is actually, now that it's pressed down to one side, I'm actually going to turn it wrong side out for just a minute, only so I can press this down really flat. And then I'll turn it back wrong side out. Just makes my life simpler when I have to flip it. It'll go back where it's supposed to. So we're just going to press that flat. And it also presses that seam really nice and flat where I have left the opening. And I will show this after I get it pressed. And then we're going to press the other one as well. Now, the pattern actually says that once you get the front pressed, if you want to, you can go ahead and top stitch the front of the jumper up at the top. I don't. I want my top stitch to be a continuous stitch all the way around the straps, so I don't do that. So I'm just pressing this down so it's nice and flat. So just to show y'all. But so there's my opening, if you can see right here, for flipping. It's about 4 inches. And so I pressed it good, but now I'm going to turn it back wrong side out. This is my back. Okay. And we're going to go press the front. But so if you can see, it lays nice and flat there, down. But yeah, I got Snoopy on the front and a bunch of characters on the back. So now I'm going to press this one completely. And like I said, a lot of times I do this, press it from the wrong side. And what that does, because you're looking at the seams, and I do this a lot with like my project bags, is I will press it to the seam and then I will fold it to get that nice pretty flat seam. Just means it lays better. So I'm not worrying about getting the dress perfectly pressed or anything right now. Right now I am just getting this part done. And then I will turn it back right side out and press it flat. Okay, so turn that back right side out. All right, so we are pressing this flat at the seam. So I just will, like I said, that makes it lay flatter if you press it from the inside first or the wrong side first, the seam open. I've just, after the years, I've just started doing that and I found it lays a lot flatter. So it's a nice, pretty top stitch when we actually do our top stitch. Okay. So I'm going to press my front part of the straps. I know this is not the most exciting part, but like I said, this is a very simple sew. The only reason I would ever say to top stitch this front is to make it lay flatter, but I don't really think you need to if you press it good. So that's my thought process. So I'm just pressing it good around the curves. And that's the main reason you either clip your curves or use pinking shears. I just find it's easier to clip the curves. And apparently clipped one part too close, which happens. So I'm going to go back and sew a little seam right here. Real quick. Yep, one little part. Seam came undone, so I didn't actually cut it too close. It's just, I think the seam popped, and it happens sometimes. So, not a big deal. I was just like, wait, why am I seeing little fuzzies? So, all right, so not an issue. We fixed it. So I'm gonna press that back real quick. It's like, I'm not shouldn't be seeing raw edges, but that happens. So, all right, so sorry for that. All right, so we have our front, which has the shorter. We have turkeys and cats, and it's right side out. And then we have our back sides, which have the longer straps. So basically what happens is that this gets folded over and then you snap it and it's about right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we match up our colors. And we're going to stick the front inside the back. So the big thing is make sure for my fabric's sake, make sure your cats match up with your turkeys and your turkeys match up with your cats. Said that wrong. Make sure your turkeys match up with turkeys and your cats match up with cats. And so you will actually put the front inside the back. So if you can see, they're right sides together. And so I've got my cats and cats and then my turkeys and turkeys. So what I'm going to do is I start pinning at the seams. And what I do is I will match up my seam for both. And this is why your opening is on the bottom in the middle at the back. Okay. And I will pin this, and I'm going to go ahead and pin my other seam because there are only two seams, the top and bottom seam. I'll go ahead and pin the other seam as well. I'd love to hear what fun mixes they would do with these. I think I'm going to make a Tar Heel one for my little daughter for a football game next week, even if we've been playing like crap, but still going to the football game. So it'll be fun for her to wear. I'd love to hear what y'all would make dresses and who y'all would make them for. I will say this is a size 10, and for that, but the height of a 8. She's a little short thing. This uses about 1.5 to 1 3/4 of fabric, of each fabric. Not just of one fabric, of each fabric. So it's not exactly the it's friendly for making fabric stretch, but it is very cute use for fabric. So usually what I'll do is I'll buy 2 yards of the fabric I want, and then I have enough to make Monkey a matching dress. It's the best way to put it for her. So that monkey goes everywhere with us. So I've got the first half, the turkeys, pinned. And I do this and I go ahead and pin both sides because, oh, that's a great fabric choice. And she could wear it all the time. Monkey ends up having more clothes than the American Girl doll. So, yeah. She's going to use her dance costume from this past year to be a cowgirl for Halloween. And I've had to go buy a bandana and a little white American Girl to make a matching t-shirt dress so that that monkey matches her. So that will be being made probably next week sometime. But that's a lot easier. But yes, Monkey gets a matching dress a lot of the time, or outfits. Monkey actually, when I do hoodies for her, Monkey gets matching hoodies. I have made a hoodie pattern for that monkey. So it's definitely interesting. I even figured out the measurements to make the hood that fits Monkey. So it's definitely interesting. If you see my teenager in the background, she's doing a science experiment for her college biology class outside. So that's cool. So the biggest thing, I think I spend more time pinning than I do actually sewing this. So we have one side pinned. I'm going to go ahead and pin the other side. And then all that's left after we get this done is we sew these 2 openings. And then after we do that, then we will actually turn it right side out, press it, and then top stitch down at the bottom and around the straps, and it's done, and then put the snaps on. There's not a lot. Welcome. Glad to have you here. So, like I said, as you can see, we have our black cats together. I always think it's neat. I started sewing when my older daughter was about 2, and about a year and a half. And I decided my very first thing I ever sewed was a jumper, and that was a little more difficult. So, oh, that's cool. I like her choices. I like the wools. I'm not a huge unicorn person, but that's just me. I don't know. One of my first ones my 8-year-old chose was Batman on one side and Scooby-Doo on the other. So everybody has eclectic taste, right? Like I said, a lot of this time is just pinning. It's not, like I said, this is not a hard pattern. It's a fun pattern. You can really decorate it up for children and grandchildren. I've actually made matching dresses for before my older daughter got too big for this pattern, and they had matching dresses. I made the same on one side for both of them, but on the other side, I made them completely different. So had matching for Christmas one year, and but they could also flip it and be completely different. So my younger one has outgrown most of the ones I made her last year, so I'm having to make some new ones for holidays. She loves having her jumpers. She's very much a girly girl, which I am not. So it's just fun. It's funny because both my girls love pink, and that's my least favorite color. So we have one more side to pin, and then we will sew it together and move on. Are any questions? Anybody have anything they want me to possibly look into designing in the next year? Any type of bag? I think I'm going to make a carry-on bag in the next year. Design one. My mother-in-law had a bag that she had from when she used to travel more often, and I have it to take apart and make a new pattern. So I think I may do that hopefully in the new year. Are there any functionalities y'all would be interested in seeing? I also plan on making a carrying case for a full switch system and incorporate it to have for all sizes of switches. I will look at also for other game systems. It's just what I have in my house is Nintendo mostly. So I have to rely on testers to give me measurements and things like that. Oh, it has lots of pockets. I have it kind of slightly drafted out. I have this really cool waterproof canvas from Iris Textiles that I plan on making it out of. That's actually plants that are poisonous but have pretty flowers. So at least not the first one. I will make it out of my one to carry with me though. Has like nightshade and lily of the valley and things like that. That's a really cool print. All right, so we have, here is our, if you just look at it, it looks like we just have our exterior, but it is inside and we have nice big opening. And what we're going to do is we're going to sew around that. Nice big circle for both sides. So I'm going to flip y'all back to the sewing machine. All right. And I usually start sewing right before a seam. And I usually start sewing at the bottom. Just makes me know where I'm at. I don't like starting at a seam because then I have to go over that little bit of a hump. Carry-on's not something I've seen everywhere. I've seen duffel bags and things like that, but an actual carry-on that's meant to be just a carry-on, but has lots of pockets, I think is a great use. Now I do plan on releasing a very simple crossbody bag. I say simple. To me, it's one of my simpler ones that I've come up with, and I've been making it for years. It actually has place for 6 cards, has a zipper pocket in the middle for change and stuff. And I mean in the middle, not the on one of the sides. And then it has some slip pockets on the other side. Basically, you don't have to carry a wallet with this bag. It's one I kind of designed for myself. So all right, so we're going up one side, now we're going down the other. We're sewing the cats and now we're sewing the turkeys, and we will do that to the other side as well. Oh, I can show y'all the fabric. I've started quilting another bag. I'm using some more of the Tula Pink fabric. If y'all have noticed, I like that, but it is actually from the Roar line, which is dinosaurs. I'm going to make a tote bag for, it's called Carry All. I don't remember, my brain's Control It. It's called Control It by Annie. And it's for like storing remote controls and have it so I can just stick it on my hearth and not lose my remote controls for once. They seem to like to get lost, and we'll see if that actually helps or not. But it's a really cool border print with dinosaurs on it. So we have one side already sewn, so I'm going to flip it to the other side. Like I said, I like to start at the bottom, right before the seam, and I do that mainly because of bulk more than anything. I don't like starting right at a seam anyways, because it's going to have more stress there over time, right at a seam. So but we are just going around. Now, since this is just kind of a circle, I'm not going around curves or anything. I can go around this pretty fast. I just stopped to remove my pins and maneuver the fabric a little bit more. So we are moving right along. And poke myself with the pin, which is not unheard of. All right, so this has when you get up to the armhole, it actually has a little bit of a triangular at where the seams meet, just because how it goes down under the arm. So I just have to, that's the only time I stop to kind of rotate it. Now I could probably wait till the end to pull out all the pins, but more than likely I'd end up losing one somewhere. So I usually try to pull them out as I'm doing them. Or you can be like me earlier today when I hit the needle right on and broke the needle and had a straight pin. Looked like it wasn't a straight pin, it was a 90-degree angle pin at that point. It had to be thrown away. Okay, so I'm going to flip y'all back around a minute. All right, so we have this. Both sides are sewn. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull it out through our opening, and see, my hand fits in there really well. I said about a 4-inch hole is about all you need. If you wanted to have bigger, you could. I turn it completely wrong side out. Now, what's actually that I'm not doing, this does actually come where you can add pockets, and it has there's both regular shaped pockets and heart shaped pockets that you could put on these dresses, and it has places on the pattern pieces to mark where you put the pockets. Excuse me, that's just more work than I want to put in. for a simple jumper. But it does have that option. So just heads up if you are making these. Oh, and what's great about this pattern, or these fabrics, is that they are both non-directional. So if you look at my cats, they go all different ways. And same with my turkeys. There's some that are right side up, some that are upside down. So that's what's great. And you'll use more fabric if you have a directional print. You really do need that 1 3/4 if you have a directional print. If you, let's see, I'm going to get my little handy dandy pokey stick. But yeah, they actually do have, and they have where you put placement for pockets on here. I just haven't done it. I think I've done it once, but it's more trouble than it's worth, especially when my little one would want Monkey to have the same type of pockets, and on that size scale, I don't want to. So for the most part, I just do simple. But I have done ruffles, and I do that pretty regularly. And basically, you just sew the ruffle onto each front and back, and then sew it like it's one piece. Like, so you go ahead and add your ruffles to the front and backs of both designs, and then you just treat it like it's the all one piece of fabric after you've added the ruffle. So it makes it kind of interesting. So right now I am just using my little pokey stick to poke out my thing. Now what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go and press my side seams open. So if you can see, now that I've got it turned right side out, now I have turkeys on the outside right now, but I got to go press everything. The pokey thing. Well, it's technically like a chopstick, but this is actually completely metal. So there's no way I can really break it because I have used chopsticks for a long time and I've broken a good number of them. So I like this. This was from Bob and Jen's Odds and Ends. So it was bjoddsandends.com. They may still have some. I don't know. They were basically selling their inventory, what they had left of stuff, until they were gone, and then they were closing their shop. It's where I got a lot of my like plain webbings. So I wasn't happy to hear that, but this was a great tool, and it's rainbow. So even better. So I still have my little regular wooden chopstick because sometimes you want something that's a little softer to turn something. But I'll take y'all back over to the ironing board again. So I can press this. Warm up the iron again. And of course, I got a white thread on the black turkey print. No. But it's actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to press my seam again that I pressed earlier at the bottom. And then I will press my seam around the top of the back. And I will top stitch both. And once all that's done, I'll actually press the sides, the seams. But that's more to where it lays pretty for like my daughter to wear the next day. That's not so much needed at this point. This is making sure your bottom seam, so you can top stitch it closed, lays flat and everything. So I have done the top, and now we will press the back seams. And I have the dog, I have my Cocker Spaniel staring at my teenager on our back patio doing her biology lab. He's like, "Why are you not letting me out there?" So that's always fun. But I am sewing this and almost done. The last little bit to press. So it's nice and cleanly finished. Those are always fun. So what's left for this is to top stitch around the seams, both here and at the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. And like I said, I'm using a black thread because it matches the black cats and black with the turkeys being all. Now, I thought about using rainbow because there are a lot of the rainbow colors in with the black cats, but since I was like, let's just go black and make things easier on myself. So I'm going to move y'all back. And then we'll talk about installing snaps. And there goes my plug. All right, let's top stitch. And so I want the back side first. All right. So I'm actually going to start right about where my opening is first. Mainly because I want to make sure that's good and closed. It's the best way I can put it. I want to make sure that opening's closed first. And I top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. Now you can pin this closed. I'm just holding it because it's not a big hole. So I just hold it closed until I get past that. So this goes pretty quick. And like I said, I ran an iron over those again. So it lays nice and flat between the two. And we just sew along. I said, I top stitch. Like I said, I realized I was like, wait, I promised her that I had not made her black cat and bat mouse jumper yet. And I was like, well, we're already almost halfway into the October, so I need to make sure she has that to wear for the next couple weeks. And then she will have about 3 weeks she can wear it for Halloween and for the black cat, and then she can flip it over and have it for turkeys for the all of November. And knowing her, she'll still wear it even after both holidays have passed, which I have no problem with. She'll probably wear the black cat more than the turkeys, but we have a very simple little jumper, and there's not a lot involved. Mostly it's fabric more than it is time, because we've about sewn this in just a little over an hour, which is not bad if you think about it that way. But We're just top stitching all the way around. We're almost there. And then we will top stitch our straps. Then we'll put our snaps in and we are done. We just go around. Making it sewing terms is always fun. And then somebody goes, "What are you talking about?" So that's always interesting. Okay, we're going to trim our threads. Okay, and the bottom is done. So now we just have to top stitch the top. So I always start right at a seam so it's not showing, my start and stops are not showing. And I start on the back side right in front of the seam, just so you're less likely to see where your top stitching started and stopped. So can't go quite as fast around the straps as I do around the bottom, because you got a curve. While the other is just a straight line around the bottom. Still doesn't take a long time. All right, so we're going around the curve. So we're almost halfway down around the straps. So get that to lay flat a little bit better. So there's our other seam. So we are over the halfway point of top stitching. Like I said, you can top stitch the front before you put it together. It even says so. I just like the finished look so that my seams match up right, because you're going to have to top stitch the back straps anyways. And it's like, if you're going to do it, why not do it all at one time? Okay, we're going around those. Takes a little more time to go around them. But so sorry this was running a little bit longer than normal, but like I said, a simple pattern. You just start from one to finish. But we're just doing that last little bit and we will be done. We are on the last like little quarter. Okay. trim our threads. Okay, so we will turn this back around. All right, so we have our completed jumper minus the snaps. So what we're going to do first, let me figure out which. So I have my press. So I have the male parts in first. So I will be putting the so this is how I'm doing this first. So the way you do snaps here in comparison, I will be doing the black cats because that's the ones I have the male parts out to. So I actually will take, and you can take an awl. Now, I've talked about in the past when I do snaps that I use a crocodile. Do not use that when you do fabric. You want with the interfacing. I've got, like I said, F Stuff 101. I've got my snap. And with this one, it will come down and snap over. But when we have the turkeys, it will be the opposite, and it will come up and snap over instead of the bottom will snap over, whereas the top snaps over with the black cat. And it'll be better to show you when I have both of them. So let me move over to my press, and I'm going to go ahead and put both in. So if you can see, I have my other sewing machine out right now too. And I'm going to get my other, but I have my little press here. This is where I put in my snaps. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put my other black cat snap in. And you could be precisely marking these off. I don't normally. I will actually just kind of do it and put it on. I center it. That's the best way to put it. Okay. So we put the 2 male snaps on. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out my dye to my female snaps. And my pumpkins are going to be put on with female snaps. And that means your snaps are also reversible. So just to make my life easier, I will actually flip my dress out again, just so I know I'm doing it right. Just making sure my pumpkins are pointed right side up. Put my female snaps in. And go ahead and set that. I'm going to do that on the other side. And we get this other one through. Now see, if you think about it, I'm going through 2 layers of fabric and 2 layers of stabilizer. So that's why it's not going to tear out or anything like that. But you could do buttonholes and buttons instead. But in this case, I do snaps. So now I'm completed. So I'm going to come back over here and show you. All right, so just to show you how the snaps work. All right, so with the turkey dress, I've got my pumpkin snaps, and the front goes over the top. But if I want my black cat, I turn it right side out. And the back side snaps on the top. But we have one completed dress that is actually 2 dresses. But that's it for today. But if you want to see, there's the complete jumper, the black cat side with black cat snaps for both, and then reversible with pumpkin snaps, turkey dress. So, like I said, I make these all the time, and she can wear different shirts underneath them. She usually wears sometimes she wears a turtleneck, and sometimes she wears a t-shirt, depending on the time of year. But I will see y'all next Wednesday, and if either I will definitely have a materials list for the new Gamers Night Out size. Y'all will get it a little bit ahead of time. And hopefully in the next 3 weeks, I will have a new add on for the Gamers Night Out. And I will talk to y'all later.